Okay, so good evening, everyone. So we are group two. Would like to ask before we start, if you're here, kindly press any reaction before we start. So thank you for your response. Once again, good evening, everyone. So may I request everyone to please close your eyes as we pray. Okay, let's pray. Heavenly Father, we just want to thank the Lord for this day. We thank you, Lord, for your greatness and goodness in our life, oh God. And I pray, the Lord, for wisdom and knowledge to each one of us, oh Lord, that we may understand, the Lord, the topics that we are about to discuss this evening. Just we pray. Amen. Okay, so good evening, everyone. So welcome to for today's online class. So we are assigned to discuss discuss the second content that is aligned to in teaching mathematics and elementary grades. So once again, we are group two. But before we start, may I request everyone to please pay attention because we will have a playtime. So we will not be singing this evening since we're having our online discussion or reporting. So now let's play the game Fix Me. So if you like to answer, kindly raise your hands or just put your answer or chat your answer on the chat box. Okay? Can I have a thumbs up? If you all agree. Okay, thank you. So now let's have the first one. Can you tell me what is the word? Or can you unscramble and tell me? Okay. Oh, we have Janine, Castro, Jeressa. All right. Okay. Any other answer? So I guess everyone got the correct answer. It's capacity. So for the next one, okay, can you tell me what the word for this one? Oh, right. I guess everyone got it right again. So it is weight. Next one. How about this one? Okay. Okay. Thank you for the responses. Again, you got it right. It's land. How about this one? Yes, you're right. It's time. So thank you for having your time this evening. So next one. How about this one? Okay. Where are the answers? All right. I can see. Please continue. All right. It's temperature. For the next one, how about this? Can you guess? Okay, let's wait for the others. Yes, you're right. So it's measurement. So for this evening, we're going to talk about things that is related to measurement. So as you notice, the scrambled words that you identify a while ago is all related to measurement. To fully discuss, but before that, let me share for tonight's lesson. So first is we're going to talk about what is measurement, what are the different forms of measurement, what is the metric system and the imperial system of measurement, and also we're going to talk about the important aspect in measurements and sample activities. So basically, for tonight's objective is to identify the different forms of measurement. Second is to recognize the importance of understanding the four stages of measurement. And next is to demonstrate the ability to use measuring instrument such as rulers and meter stick. So to discuss what is measurement, may I ask Miss Alyssa Violeta to take the stage.
So, good evening everyone. I am Alyssa Ashley Violeta, and I will be discussing about measurement. Next. Okay, so what is measurement? So measurement, this is the act of determining the size of an object. So from the word itself nga size. So ato siyang murag pangitaon kung unsa ang size baron or kadak-a sa usa ka butang or kundi kay unsa na siya kabug-ata baron katas-a ang usa ka butang. So mao na siya ang measurement. So next, Karen. So ang measurement, this quantifies the characteristics of an object or event which we can compare with other things or events. So ang measurement pwede daw nato siya ma-compare kay tungod kanang mahibaw-an man nato if ang usa ba ka butang kay mas heavy ba kaysa aning other nga thing, or pwede po siya mas taas ba ni ang kuan baron ang chair kaysa sa table. So mo na siya ang kuan measurement, mailhan nato siya kung unsa ba ang size sa usa ka object. And ang kani siyang measurement, so this is important since makapadevelop ni siya sa mga pupils nga problem solving skills, while at the same time kay investigating practical problems which is according sa twinkle nga site. So makatabang ni siya sa problem solvings, especially like let's say if mag-measure ta, pwede ba nato i-measure kung kanang sa pagluto. So di ba makaatabang man siya kanang unsaon na nimo siya, example ang pagluto nimo kay mas na sweet ba nimo siya, so unsaon nimo siya pag measure per mas mo less sweet ang imong pagluto. So di ba na ka-solve kag problem, and at the same time practical siya since ma-apply na to siya sa real world na problems. So next, Karen. So mo ni siya ang different forms of measurement. We have the capacity, the weight or mass. We also have length, time, and temperature. So mo ni siya ang mga measurement nga i-learn sa mga primary students. And ang kani sila nga mga topic will be discussed by another reporter. Thank you.
Before we proceed to the different forms of measurement, there are things that we need to know before actually discussing the different forms of measurement. So to discuss this next topic, I would like to ask Mr. Cuyag to take the online floor. Thank you.
So, good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
I am Cuyag, and I'm going to talk about the unit system used for measurement, which is the metric system and the imperial system. So, unsam ni siyang metric system? So, metric system is the most common system of units. Is the most common. Muna siya ang pinaka-common nga unit of measurement. So, which is widely used in a lot of countries around the world. And it is a popular metric units include meters, kilograms, liters, and more. So, mas makasabot pa taan ni unya ako ning i-discuss ugmayo. So, next. Next is the imperial system. Known as British Imperial, it is another unit of system which is popular in the United Kingdom, which uses the unit of foot, gallon, and stone are all imperial units. So para mas masabtan nato siya, ato siyang i-differentiate kung unsa ni siya sa kalainan sa metric system and imperial system. So when we talk about the base units, ang base units sa metric system, they use the base units that are based on the powers of tens, like meters, centimeters, and millimeters. So ang kanay siyang powers of tens means kanang ang mga measurement is 10, 10,000, 100, 10 million, mga ingana siya ang mga measurement. While diri sa imperial system has a less systematic approach to base units like inches, feet, yards. So, ganong mas less systematic man ang imperial system. So, next please. So, mas less systematic ang imperial system like diri sa iyang consistency. Makita nato nga ang imperial system has lack of consistency. For example, kung i-convert nimo ang yard into feet, 12 inches in a foot is equivalent to 3 feet in a yard. Ang 1 yard is equivalent to 3 feet. Well, ang 12 inches is 1 foot. So, lisod-lisod siya. Makuanti pareha sa metric system is ang kanang 1 kilometer is 1,000 meters. So, mas easy siya mailhan or timnan nato. Ang ganun siya ang metric system. So, next please. So, dito sa conversion. So, ang metric system is easy to convert. Nga naman, for example, katong gipakita ganina is 1,000 millimeters. Convert nimo og centimeters. So, igora nimo siya i-divide og 100 ba to or 1,000. So, mas easy siya i-convert. Okay, because the conversion between metric units typically involves moving only decimal point. It is easy to convert from one unit to another, meters to millimeters. While diri sa imperial system is lisod siya. Okay, like the example ganina is ang 1 feet ang 1 yard is equivalent to 3 feet. So maglisod-lisod pa ka dapat timanan pa nimo ang lahi-lahi nga mga conversion nila. So that would be all for my part. To summarize the difference nila is the key differences between the metric and imperial system lies in their base units, katong idus kanina, the consistency and the ease of conversions. The metric system is known for its simplicity, decimal nature, and widespread use, while the imperial system is primarily used in specific regions and industries. So kung ganahan kag measurement nga masayon-sayon og dili ka kanang maglisod og convert, you can use the metric system. While nag-work as mga industries and companies, you can use the imperial system.
Thank you so much,
So
Cuyag.
that would be all.
So thank you so much, Cuyag. So now, let's start discussing the different forms of measurement. To start, may I ask Mr. Abrica? Is that right? Kindly take the online floor. Thank you.
Hello, matungog ra ako.
Yes.
So, capacity. So, what is capacity? So, capacity means how much a container can hold when it's full. So, ang capacity, nakatabang ni siya para maibuan nato ang mga tanang makaya sa butang. For example, next slide. So, for example, imagine a water bottle. It can only hold a certain amount of water. Mao na siya ang iyang capacity. So, if 1 liter na siya, syempre 1 liter gid ang makaya. So, mao na ang capacity niya. So, next. So, kini. There are 2 types of capacity. Metric and customary. So, sa metric, mao niya itong nailhan yun kayo ang liters o milliliters. So, sa customary pod kay naa diri ang fluid, ounce, cup, pint, quart, o gallon. So sa diri sa arilanta sa customary kay mas kuan siya, mas lisod siya sabton. So sa fluid ounce, imagine you have a tiny bottle that holds a very small amount of liquid. So ang katong small amount mao na siya ang gitawag nga fluid ounce. Sa cup kay kanang gitawag na it's bigger than a fluid ounce but smaller than a pint. So, dako-dako ra siya, pero di siya nga mas dako gid siya sa pin. So, ang pin pod kay mawasa na siya ang for example, ice cream. So, sa ice cream, two cups ang imuha. So, mao na ang pin. So, sa quartz, so, pwede yan niya kay sa kanang okay na niya. Like, murag yapon siya og cup, pero pwede siya dinaghan ka ng, for example, a quart is like having 4 cups. So, mo na siya. Yung sa gallon, mo na siya ang pinakadako. So, kung in cups pa, pwede siya like 16 cups. Next. So she bought 4 liters of orange juice. She wants to know how much that is in milliliters. So, syempre, in 1 liter, that's 100 milliliters. So, 4 liters times 4 times 1,000 milliliters. 4 liters times 1,000 milliliters, that's 4,000 milliliters. So, ora na ang capacity sa kaniyang napalit nga orange juice kay 4 liters raman. So, next. Ray bought 6 gallons of paint. He wants to know how many quarts that is. So, 1 gallon equals to 4 quarts. So, 6 gallons times 4 equals 24 quarts. So, that's like example sa quarts. Ang pwede ma-example sa dlain na ni kay ang milk jug. So, sa milk jug, pwede siya kanang ang 1 gallon, mapalit mo yun kanang 1 gallon, mo yun ana. So, sa 1 gallon sad, moro sad na sila og sulod kay 4 quarts ang gyapon. So, lagi 4 quarts gyapon. So, ang kuan gyapon kung unom yung paliton, mo gyapon 24 quarts. So, next. So, mara to. So, in conclusion, so capacity is all about how much container can hold when it's full. Tapos we use different units like liters, milliliters, fluid, ounce, cups, pins, quarts, and gallons to measure the capacity. That's all on my part.
Thank you, Abrica. So now let's proceed to the next form of measurement, which is weight or mass. So, I don't know if Miss Canillo is here, but okay. Thank you. So to discuss the weight, Miss Canillo, take the online floor. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much. All right, good evening, everyone. So right now I'll be tackling about the units of weight and mass. So what is mass? When we say mass, it is a measure of how much matter is an object. So what is the difference between mass and weight? So next slide, please. All right. So when we say mass, it is a measurement of how much matter, as what I've said a while ago. While weight, it is a measurement of the gravitational force on an object. So mass, it is how much stuff is inside something. Like when you have a bag of sugar, and it says it's 1 kilogram, it will always be 1 kilogram no matter where you are. Well, weight, it will change. It will possibly change. It is how heavy something feels because of gravity. It's like how that bag of sugar feels when you hold it. Like on the moon, it would feel lighter because the moon has less gravity. So mass never changes, but the weight, it will change. It just depends on where you are. So next slide. All right, so mass is measured by grams, kilograms, tones, ounces, and pounds. So next slide, please. All right, so when we say grams, it is our use to measure smaller objects because of grams are smaller than kilograms. And when we say kilograms, it is we use kilograms when we are measuring things that are heavy. So, for example, when we have one piece of cupcake, what do you think is the measurement of that cupcake? Is it mass? Is it grams or kilograms?
Grams.
All right, very good. So it is grams because it is smaller. It is a small object, correct? So how about the elephant, the big elephant? It is it grams or kilograms? What do you think?
Kilograms.
Kilograms.
All right, very good. So next slide, please. Right. So and also there are also symbol in there is a we can just also write a short. Can also there is also there also a symbol on writing a grams and kilograms. So in grams it is letter G, while kilograms it is kg. So next slide, please. All right, so a 1/2 kilogram it is equivalent to 500 grams. So this is the example. So a strawberry it is a 500 grams, and the other one which is the vegetable, so it is 1/2 kilogram. So it's just the same. So next slide, please. All right, so how many 200 grams will balance? So in 600, how many 200 grams? So, of course, it's 3, right? Because it's already there, yes. Well, in 1 kilogram, how many 200 grams will balance?
5.
All right, of course. Thank you so much. Next slide. All right, very good. Next slide. All right, so that would be all. So next reporter, please.
Okay, so good evening everyone. I am Ghia from Gutib, and today I'm going to discuss about length. So length is the term used for identifying the size of an object or distance from one point to another, or length is the measure of how long an object is or the distance between 2 points. So when we talk about length, we're basically talking about the distance from one place to another or from one point to another. It could be meant, for example, from this side of this cardboard to this side of this cardboard. Or it could be also the distance from our school to your house. But of course, depending on what you're going to measure, we need to use the different units of measurement for length. So we have first next millimeters. So millimeters is the small units of length. So the example of the millimeter is if we're going to measure the thickness of our ID or our credit card, or it can be the sheets of paper on top of each other. So madara siya millimeters meters kay gagmay raman kay siya. And next, we have centimeters. So, of course, when we have 10 millimeters, it can be called a centimeter because 1 centimeters is equal to 10 centimeters as 10 millimeters. So, one way to measure, remember how long is a centimeter is by putting up your hand and looking at your, pinky finger. Yeah. And then by looking from this side of your pinky finger to this side of your pinky finger that's roughly measured about 1 centimeter. Next. So we have here meter. So a meter is equal to 100 centimeters. So 1 meter equals 100 centimeters. The example of this, di ba kung like if we're going to buy a rope or a ribbon, tas walay ka ng measuring tools ang kanang tindera. So we have this technique like this. You just open your arm and then, for example, mupet ka kung PC, maaari ka papalit ako 1 meter nga PC. Di ba, maana sila 1 meter, 2 meter, like that. So that's how you're going to remember how long meter is. So next, we have a kilometer. So the kilometer is the biggest unit of measurement. So we will use kilometer to measure, especially long distance. For example, we need to get from one place to another. So we will measure the distance using this unit of measurement, which is the kilometer. So kung mga long distance na gani atong hisgutan, so ang atong isukod ana ang tawag na to sa sukod ana is kilometer na. But then of course kung natin mga meters, kilometers, centimeters, and millimeters, kanang nakod tayo measuring tools on how we get that measurement. Next. So these are the common tools used for measuring the length. First is roller. I don't have to explain about that because we already know what roller is. And then we have the odometer. Odometer is used to measure kilometers. Kaya di man na siya madaog roller lang kung magsukod ka og mga long distance. And we have measuring tape. Measuring tape it can use to measure kanang like magbuhat pa karon og mga tables, or it can also be used in measuring on how tall you are. And that's all.
Thank you, Ghia. Now let's proceed on discussing the other form of measurement, which is time, which will be discussed by Miss
Montecillo. So hello, good evening everyone. My name is Janelyn Montecillo, and time. We tell the time so we know when different events happen throughout the time, whether during noon, day, evening, or night. So, di ba, makaibalo mata sa usa ka panghitabo or kadugayon kay tungod sa times, especially kanang sa adlaw, kanang makaibalota nga ni buntag na ni gabiin na ni udto kay tungod sa time. So, time is quantify, measure, or compare the duration of events or the intervals between. So, makaibalota sa kadugayon sa usa ka panghitabo kay tungod sa time. So, next. So time is ongoing and continuous sequence of events that occur in succession from the past through the present to the future. So sama sa gingon ganiha nga makahibulota sa kadugayon sa kapanghitabo kay because of time, like example past, present, and future. Diba makahibalo mata na kay tungod sa time. So next. Here is the different measurement. So, time is a way we measure and talk about moments. Like example, seconds. Seconds, these are like a tiny ticks of a clock. Like, di dyan ta makabantay ani kay tungod sa iyahang kapaspas. Minutes, like example, like duwa ka o games. O niya, it takes few minutes to finish. So, mauna siya ang minutes na wala siya nakaabot sa 60 minutes each. Then sa hours kay mao ni siya ang medyo dugay-dugay. Like example kana mo adto ba ka sa eskwelahan mo mataba ka mana siya ang hours. Unya days kay mo adto ka sa like example mo adto ka sa eskwelahan di ba sa days kay kanang 5 days. So mao na siya. And weeks, kay example, sa 5 days, kamoto ka sa skulahan, unya sa weekends kay tingpahuway na nimo, tingpahuway or time to play, and months kay it made up of 4 weeks. And years kay mo ni siya ang pinakadugay jud. Like example, mag-celebrate ba kasi mohang birthday sa New Year, and the clocks kay mo ni siya makaibaluta kung unsa na ang oras o sa calendar kung unsa na nga pitsahan. And that's all.
Okay, so thank you, Janelyn. So I think we need to proceed to the last form of measurement to be discussed by Nico Rollon.
So, good evening, everyone. So, I'm Johnny Corleon and talking about temperature. So, what is temperature? So, temperature is a measurement of the hotness and the coldness of a body. So, scientifically, we could say that temperature is generally a measure of the kinetic energy of particles in an object, which means particles present in the object are always moving. So, how is temperature measured? So there are many techniques to gauge the temperature, but a thermometer is the most popular one. So a thermometer, which is a long tube having a mercury filled in, or sometimes alcohol, is a tool used to gauge a substance temperature. So next slide, please. Balik ka rin. Sorry, balik. As we can see, ang kaning naa sa kanang kuan gani picture gani nga naa sa kilid, mo na siya ang thermometer. So ang thermometer gamit nato para sa pagsukod sa kabugnawon or kainiton sa butang or sa panahon or sa tao. So ang kanang sa thermometer kanang kabantay mo kanang red line sa tunga guys sa thermometer is what we call kanang mercury. So if ang mercury gani, the moment mercury kanang mutaas gani, it means na ang temperature is init. And if the moment the mercury goes down, it indicates that the temperature is cold. So for example, gauwan ganiha. So unsa man nga ato ang temperature, di ba? Bugnaw. So ang mercury ana kay kanang nasa ubos. Nya ang atong kasagarang buhaton basta bugnaw gani, higop og sabaw, mag-jacket like that. Unya og kung kuan sad og kanang sunny day sad, ang mercury sad is mo saka. Nya ang atong buhaton ana kay kanang magsandot ta kay init kayo, di ba? Mag-init kayo, kauntag ice cream kay pabugnaw kuno kay. Next please. So, different measurement for temperature. So, there are 3 main temperature scales used for thermometers: the Celsius, the Kelvin, and the Fahrenheit. But the most widely used temperature scales are Fahrenheit and Celsius. So, ang Celsius kay it is used to indicate a single temperature, and ang sa Fahrenheit kay a temperature scales based on a proposed in 724 by the physicist Daniel Gabriel Fahrenheit. So ang ilang properties ani kay apilo lang tong kelvins. Ang kelvins kay ang 0 Kelvin is the lowest temperature possible. Nya particles have no kinetic energy and it is used by scientists. Nya ang Celsius, the absolute zero temperature is negative 273 degree and it is used in the most other countries. And it is expressed by the symbol degree C, degree Celsius. And in Fahrenheit, the absolute zero temperature is negative 459 degree Fahrenheit. And it is used by the United States. And Fahrenheit expressed by the symbol degree F or degree Fahrenheit. So kung mangutanat unsaon pag-convert sa Celsius to Fahrenheit, so if we convert between Celsius and Fahrenheit, we'll just remember that 1 degree Celsius is equal to 1.8 degree Fahrenheit. So we multiply the Celsius value by 1.8 or 9/5 and then add 32 to get the value in Fahrenheit. So I guess that's all for my report.
So thank you so much. So once again, those are the different forms of a measurement. Oh, but before we proceed, can somebody tell me what are the different forms of measurement? Anyone? Okay, I guess.
Saplot, Miss Karen.
Hello? Madungog ra ka, miss.
Ay, okay. So the different forms of measurement, Miss, is capacity, weight, length, time, and temperature.
Okay, thank you so much, Miss Saplot, and also Miss Anna Marie. And also, so before we, so now let's proceed to the things you need to know before teaching measurement. So those mentioned different forms of measurement are important aspect in teaching measurement and primary grades. However, before you fully able to teach those topics to the children, there are things that you need to know as a teacher, and also things that need to learn. You need to teach the children before they actually know how to measure those different forms. So there is what we call the important aspect of measurement. So okay, so first is student must learn the following. First is understanding the attribute of being measured. So example is what is length. So ang pasabutan ni is di ba when we cannot dili ta makakuan sa butang, maka-answer sa butang or makasolve if wala ta kabalo kung unsa na siya. So muna siya ang pasabot diri. So student can't measure something if they don't know what is length, what is kung unsa ilang gi-measure. So next is understanding the process of measurement. So basically it answer the question, how do you describe how long something is? So ipasabutan na is kanang like description unsa nila pag-describe or unsa nila pag-ingon nga kaning butang unsa ang measurement nila. Like example, mag-measure ka sa lapis. So man siya like process unsa may lang kanang ginabuhat una, di ba? Usually ilang tanaw and i-describe nila asay mas taas. So inana man pasabot sa understanding your process of measurement. Next is learning how to use measuring instruments. So basically it is one of the skills that we need to learn as a teacher as well as to teach the children to use the following measuring instrument in measuring. So examples are rulers or tape measures that is mentioned by Miss Ghia a while ago. So again, so student must learn to understand the attribute of being measured. Next is to understand the idea or the process of measurement. And lastly, to learn how to use different measuring instruments. So there are also 4 stages of measurement. First is we have the direct comparison, indirect comparison, measuring with arbitrary or non-standard units. Next is measuring with standard units. So why are these stages important in teaching measurement? So typically these 4 stages of teaching and learning of measurement are important because these stages allows the student to know the importance of measurement as well as the process. So this process kay more sa siya spiral, guys. Kung imong ito ikon sa spiral means from basic or like kung unsa ang ilang una natong kanang way of measuring something, then going to the kana specific or katong skills na gyud nga ginanid. So what is direct comparison? So direct comparison is measuring exactly the same quantity you want to measure. So basically, direct comparison uses your senses sa mata. So like pagtanaw nimo. For example, you're trying to measure the pen. Again, the pencil no. So wait. So you're trying to measure the pencils. So imong buhaton kutong bata pa ka wala pa jud ka nag-study how to use measuring instrument. We usually measure things using the stage of direct comparison. So imo i-align ang duha ka lapis. So same object but then ang isa ka lapis kay gamay. Okay. Matatag example para masabtan. So for example, you're trying to measure lapis. So sa direct comparison, ang buhaton sa bata or ang buhaton kay kani patanaw. So pag kita sa mga bata, makisa, ay ang kani kay kanang mo ni siya ang gamay, ang kani kay short. So basically, they're trying to describe. So muna siya ang direct comparison describing the things na ilang nakita. For example, muna siya muna siya ang direct comparison. So why is it important nga na maakon sa bata ang kaninga stages o ila sa ma-master ang pag-direct comparison? Because kanang without using the kanang normal katong standard units na sa pagkuan sa measurement, makakabalo na sila mo-measure by just looking at the object they are trying to measure. So muna siya ang direct comparison. So so define what is being measured. So these are the things that you need to consider in direct comparison. First is define what is being measured. Once again, kato akong i-mention the aspect. So they need to know what they are trying to measure. So kani, what they're trying to measure is the length, kung asa ang mas taas. So they need to understand, they need to define what is being measured. Next is determine the measurement of an object. So muna, by looking, they can determine asa ang short and asa ang long. The next is to gain a fundamental understanding on how to measure. So, muna siya, understand, inani ka na. Kuan di ay mas taas siya sa kuan. So, mas taas ni ang kaninga nga kanang nga pen kaysa ani kay kanang ako siya gitupong kay ala kanang kuan. Kasi ni kanang mas taas gyud ang isa. So, but then sa kaninga process, makakonsad when I say fundamental understanding, we can only do direct comparison if we align two objects. Same sila kuan. But dili ka ka-describe kung asa ang mas taas if inani pag-measure sa bata. Wala niya gitugpong ang edge. So, di siya kaingon nga. Doesn't mean nga ang isa kay nilabaw, siya na ang taas. So, dapat kung mag-measure ang bata sa direct comparison, i-adjust the level. Same quantity, same kuan. So, dila niya ma-identify kung unsa ang exact measurement. So, yeah, this is the example. Okay. Can you tell me sa first nga picture kaning leaf, can you tell me kung kinsa ang mas taas if wala sila nagtupong?
Ang curve.
Can you tell if mas taas, asay mas taas kaning sa leaves, diba? Dili mo kaingon nga ang kaning left nga side nga leaves kay kanang mas taas sa kanang right side because wala man sila nag-level. So, muna siya ang direct comparison. Musad ni siyang need na to i-understand sa bata. When they try to do the direct comparison, dapat jud kanang align sila. Then kanisad nga part kaning curves yan, tupong sila pero di sila level kuan. So dili sadya ka, di sad kayo useful ang direct comparison if inani kay maglisod og identify kung asa ang mas taas or asa ang mas mabo. Okay, sorry. Okay. So next is we have, for example, okay. So next is we have, next we have direct comparison, indirect comparison rather. So it is measuring something by measuring something else. So when we say indirect comparison from the word, from the statement here, measuring something by measuring something else. So kani. So maghatag ako example. So I have the same pen. Yeah, wait lang. So bali na siya kanang kuan kung butang ta nanay third wheel. So man na siya guys, nanay third wheel because you're trying to compare two things if asay mas taas by using other materials or other object sila ha. So wait lang. Example. Okay. So ito pong murag sila gamay. Okay. And anyway, so imagine na lang nga dili na sa tupo. So kani ako ang moag ka ng third object nga mo indirect compare sa duha. So pag anan ako using this one kaning katulong nga object maka-identify ko nga mas taas yun ni si Kwan. So there is what we call mathematical terms for this one. Okay, wait. I think I wasn't able to put it here. Oh yeah, transitivity. Transitivity. So it is a mathematical property of relationship wherein you are using a third object to compare the two objects. So mura siya kana like ang statement niya kay wait a minute. Ang statement niya kay example A is greater than B and B is greater than C, then A is greater than C. So more ginana gani. So mo na siya. So indirect comparison provides more flexibility as you compare two objects. It also provides opportunities for children to also experience the importance of mathematical relationship or called transitivity. And okay, so mo na siya ang indirect comparison. So again, when you say direct comparison, you're comparing two things by looking. Yeah, and ang indirect side, you're still comparing things by looking, but you're using a third object to compare, or you're using other materials to compare. So mo na siya. Then next is we have measuring with arbitrary or non-standard unit. So it is introduced at very young age or very young children to the concept of measuring without having them to read any scale. So yeah, so nandito sa level, di ba? Ang indirect kay kanang tanaw lang, wala sila use something, they're just comparing object by just looking din. Sa indirect kay nag-use sila kanang third kanang object to compare something. So sa measuring of arbitrary, so when we say from kinder to third grade, especially kinder, they don't know how to read scales yet, and we are trying to introduce some fundamental or some basic measurement sa kanang grade. So how can we teach them how to measure something without actually reading scales? So we are using non-standard units. So allow me to read my notes since hindi na ako siya ma-recite because the terms are so here. So manaka, what if we can just kanang tudlo the standard units, but then again lisod kay siya because kana ang mga bata di pa sa grade. So it's very important sad nga mag-start sila sa non-standard units because it will also help them to kana have the skills of measuring without actually looking at the skills, and also more ready sad sila nga na sila fundamental how to measure din. Ang kanang balimurag gihog nga ang kaning non-standard is like informal way of measuring an object or a thing. So mo na siya. So and introducing standard units in pre-K or primary grades is hard for the children. So mo na siya ang kwan. So the idea of non-standard measure is to focus the child on the concept of heavier, lighter, longer, shorter. So basically more on adjectives siya, nag-describe lang siya sa concept mo na siyang standard units without actually using millimeters, centimeters, inana. So to proceed, so why we use arbitrary or non-standard units in measuring? Some units may be too small or too large so that the size of the resulting number may not be appropriate for children at this particular time. So mo na gingon. So there are units katong centimeters, yan nasa katong kilometers, and sa kana mga bata di pa na sila understand what is literally the difference of those measurements or kanang pag-measure. So di ba we are taught that we need to kanang do activities that is appropriate to the age. So di na to hatagan silang lisod-lisod if ilang level of understanding about measuring something is napasa like kanang simpler pa. So mo na siya. So by using non-standard unit, teachers cannot control the range of numbers student might obtain. So it also allows them to describe things kani nga kanang ilahang makita lang. So next, ito nang paspasan kapit ng oras. So we have measuring arbitrary to the concept of, okay, like redundant na siya. So Next is measuring with standard units. So are units we usually use to measure the weight, length, or capacity of an object. The standard or metric units that would be discussed at primary school would include grams, kilograms, centimeters, meters, kilometers, meters, etc. So basically, it really talks about using the standard units or the metric units or the formal one or the kind of proper way of measuring something using scales. So mo to siya ang ang standard unit. So again, direct comparison is you're comparing objects by looking. Indirect comparison is you're comparing objects using a third object that would compare the objects you are comparing. Next is the non-standard is using or measuring something without actually reading scale, and standard units are measuring things using the metric system of unit system. Yeah, metric unit system. Okay, so to proceed, may I ask Miss Ashley Violeta to give us some activities that is good for teaching measurement in primary grades. Thank you.
Okay, so once again, good evening everyone, and I will be discussing again for the measurement activities for primary students. Next, Karen. So first is we have the use of bricks for non-standard measurement. So mo ni siya ang Lego bricks where Lego bricks are a fun hands-on manipulative that pretty much everyone has on hand. So ang kani siyang Lego bricks. So ato ni siyang gamiton when we say non-standard, di ba, is wala siya use of like kanang mga rulers or anything nga scales, meaning kanang before pa maka-learn ang students ana, pwede na to sila tagan og activities nga using ang Lego bricks lang sa pag-measure. For example, kuan baron kanang dinosaur nga toy, ato silang measure kung unsa katasa ang dinosaur using Lego bricks. So mo na siya ang the use of Lego bricks for non-standard measurement. So next slide. So compare height with yarn. So measure the child's height in yarn, then have them compare the yarn's length to other objects around the room. You can also create a fun display by taping up a picture of each child with their yarn to show their height. So kani sa compare height with yarn, kay magamit ta ani og yarn, and sa pagkanang i-measure na to kung unsa ba katas ang bata using sa yarn, then pwede ba nato siya i-compare sa kanang mga objects around, like asay mas taas baron ang ilahang height nga yarn, or ang chair, or ang kuan baron ang cabinet mas taas ba. So inana siya ang pag-compare sa height with yarn. So pwede sad nato siya kanang murag example ang yarn ato ba nang ipapilit sa mga walls, then human ang picture sa bata para mailan sa mga bata kung unsa sila katas-a. So example kanang yarn ni, let's say ang name baron sa student kay si Chelsea. So si Chelsea na iyang yarn dira with her picture para makaibaw siya kung unsa katas-a ang iyahang height. Okay, next slide. So learn to use a balance scale. So compare two objects by holding them in your hands. So let the child guess which objects weighs more or which is heavy and light. So ang kaning pag-use sa balance scale, so di ba kibaw man taan nga kanang ang balance scale is mailhan nato kung asay mas heavy or light. But since we are teaching kids, we can have them use their two hands. So para mailhan nila kung asa baron ang mas heavy, ang bato baron or ang cotton asay mas heavy, di ba? So mas daling maibaw-an sa students kung unsa ang mas heavier nga object. If ilang gamiton ng ilang hands, mas dali sila maka-learn o unsaon pag-measure. So ang child, they can find the answer by using the scale. Next slide. So compare and measure liquid volume. So volume can be a little tricky for kids. So it's easy to assume the tallest container will hold the most liquid, but that may not be so. So explore by pouring water into various containers in this simple measurement activity. So ang kani siyang compare and measure liquid volume. So bali magamit mo ana og kanang mga tools nga for measuring liquid, like let's say kuan ba ka ng mga cups or kanang mga tablespoon, pwede na siya pang measure og liquid. So kana siya pwede na to may bawaan kung example ani 1 cup unsa kadaghan na ang liquid sa 1 cup. So inana siya niya man kay imo i-compare siya sa uban na cups kung asay mas daghan or og mas gamay. So muna siya ang compare and measure liquid volume. Next slide. So, lastly, we have the experiment with measuring cups and spoons. So, prepare kids for cooking and baking by playing around with measuring cups and spoons. Rice is terrific for this activity, but it also works well in the sandbox. So, kaning measuring cups and spoons. So, this is very mas gamit ni siya, especially when it comes to cooking and baking. And when we say ka kanang mag-cook ba mo ron o mag-bake with your students using measuring cups and spoon, so at least naka-help mo sa pag-apply into the real world or real world situation, di ba? So, mauna siya kanang maka-learn ang mga students unsaon pag-measure sa mga ingredients para soon in the future magamit na nila sa pagluto-luto. So, mauna siya ang rice ang terrific nga activity para sa pag-experiment with measuring cups and spoon. So, that is all for our report. Thank you.
Okay, so before we actually end, so we're not able to put our motivational quotes for this evening. So, a quote from Albert Einstein, he said, "Life is like riding a bicycle. To keep you balanced, you must keep moving." So, padayon ra mga person. Okay, so that's all for tonight. Thank you for participating and being with us and staying with us tonight. So have a blessed night and God bless us all. So if you need more details, we can send our PowerPoint. So yeah, that's it. See you next time. God bless us all. Thank you.